Boardwalk Bullet is a 2007 Gravity Group and Martin & Fleming's wooden roller coaster. It is without a doubt one of the most compact coasters in the world. This 3,236 foot long or 986 meter long ride was crammed into just 1 acre of land. To do this, the ride has a staggering 42 crossovers. Boardwalk Bullet has a top height of 96 feet or 29 meters and hits a top speed of 51 miles an hour or 82 kilometers per hour. These stats aren't impressive on paper, but what the coaster does with these stats is. This coaster has phenomenal airtime and pacing, all while providing a super smooth ride for a coaster of this compactness. To make the matter more impressive, this coaster runs PTC trains, which are not known for being on twister woodies. No matter where you sit, Boardwalk Bullet is going to give you a pain-free ride, which made it easy to marathon. Kemah Boardwalk is quite small, and yet Boardwalk Bullet sits alone in its own little area of the park. It costs $7 per ride, or you could get an all-day pass for $25, which allows you to ride every ride at Kemah, including Boardwalk Bullet, as much as you want, which is a much better deal if you plan on staying for a couple hours. Upon traveling under the giant water tower that sports one of the Boardwalk Bullet signs, riders enter a sloped upwards queue that zigzags back and forth. The coaster is quite loud, and the queue is built into the structure of the ride, so there are many moments where the coaster goes right by the queue, including the part right after the drop. This results in the whole queue shaking and sears your eardrums. So just watch out if you have sensitive hearing, I guess. When I went, the coaster was always a station wait, but I was still waiting for 10 to 15 minutes per ride due to bad operations, but I'll get to that later. Let's move on to the ride experience. Boardwalk Bullet starts with a 180-degree right-hand turn out of the station. Why am I covering this? I don't know. Riders then head up the 96-foot-tall lift hill and are let go into a non-banked pre-drop helix. This builds up some speed before the train plummets down the drop at an angle before sharply banking to the right. Riders in the back will experience some solid ejector airtime. The train then enters the fastest part of the ride, a series of back and forth twists and hills providing insane laterals and a few pops of airtime throughout the train. This is my favorite part of the ride due to the insane speed and forces. I won't go into too much detail about the rest of the ride, but it is full of tiny hills and tight turns, many providing pops of airtime and great laterals, all twisted over and under itself. It really feels more like a GCI than a Gravity Group. I slightly prefer the front row on this ride, but both are definitely worth a ride. The one low point about Boardwalk Bullet I found were the operations. There was a second train, but they were only running one, which is fine because the park was pretty empty. But the dispatches were bad, and because the coaster is so long, the time from when one train would roll out of the station to the next was almost 10 minutes. Again, this was never an issue for me due to station waits every time, but I can see this being quite the issue on a crowded day, even with 2 train ops. The final verdict for this coaster is a 7.5 out of 10. Boardwalk Bullet is smooth, forceful, and very fun. The operations aren't great and it has a few dead spots, but these do nothing to hurt the overall experience. That concludes this review. Thank you so much for watching.